friends, the show starts now. Welcome to the Weekly Roundtable, where the takes are hot and FOMO set to disable. Welcome to the Weekly Roundtable, where friends are made and we all drink that red maple. Break. Juan's got his eyes on the latest somehow. We being forex that make you go wild. Crypto crazy is a man on a mission like a Tesla. He most def got a vision. Weekly Roundtable, we got no cables. Predicting the future using their bagels. Chart is throwing out numbers, no trouble. He finds the gems for real.
Well, is altcoin season canceled, or is this indeed going to be different this time around? Thanks for joining us, everyone, for today's live stream. We will discuss the altcoin season and all things crypto. Please remember that nothing said on this stream should be considered financial advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. We appreciate if you could also like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And please watch all the way to the end, as we will be giving more details on the Ballet Hard Wallet giveaway. You don't want to miss that. All right, with that all said and out of the way, let's get to the stream. Let's get up the panel. Let's introduce everyone this week. We have Crypto Cruiser, as usual, Juan Gonzalez, and we have a new guest this week, Cade O'Neill. How's everyone doing this week?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Fired up. Looking forward towards another great weekend.
Okay, so let's get right into the charts. We won't waste any time. Cruiser, is your mic working okay?
It is now, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, let's get right to the charts, guys, and then we'll see what's going on with Bitcoin. Okay, here's the Bitcoin chart. Currently, we are sitting at 104,793, which is, oh, let me get my arrow. All right. We've been following this liquidity zone for quite some time now. As you can see, also the price has bounced off the DEMA 4 times and continued up. It's held as support for quite some time, which is really nice to see. And anytime we've dipped into this liquidity zone, it's been a really good time for DCAing into your position. Can't really say much about Bitcoin right now. It's just chugging along. The whole market had a bit of a pump after the news from the FOMC. They did not raise interest rates, but Jerome Powell seemed to be a little bit bullish on crypto, which was a change. Usually he's been hawkish, so it was nice to see. Excuse me. Okay, go right into Bitcoin dominance. We've been following this closely because it relates, to altcoins and when the altcoin season could possibly be here. The lower Bitcoin dominance goes, the more the altcoins run. We've explained that in previous streams, exactly how that works and why that is. Basically, as Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means money is flowing out of altcoins and into Bitcoin. And that tends to see Bitcoin price rise and altcoins either go sideways or dip a little bit. We are in this W pattern. I was hoping that we would find resistance at this previous support, which it did not. It broke through. We are currently now doing possibly a back test. So I'm hoping that we maybe, at worst case scenario, we do jump up to this previous upwards trend line and reject off that and then come back down. And maybe then we can have a bit of an altcoin season. But that remains to be seen. Actually, I will hop over to the altcoin season chart right now. Give this a refresh, see where we are. And we are at a 53. So it has had a little bit of a rebound today, but we're still hovering around this neutral area, which, I mean, not necessarily a bad thing. If you're a trader, swing trader, it's good for you because you can get in and out of trades fairly quickly. And you'd be able to kind of see where the price action is going to go to a high degree of certainty. But we'd like to see that get above the 75, where like we were back here very, very briefly, but we're not quite there yet. So back to the charts. Let's see, because altcoins have had a bit of a rebound. Let's go over, well, the one we always show, or a few that we show. Where's XRP? I know I saw it here. Here we go. So we have XRP. As we've mentioned before, we were previously in this downwards channel. We broke out of it, retested perfectly, popped up, and now we can actually put in a bear flag right here. I won't draw it on stream, but that is very, very bullish. And it looks like we're coming to the end. We'll probably see some kind of either pump to the upside or to the downside out of this channel. on next week's stream. Actually, on Monday, we'll probably show it in a little bit more detail. I'll redo my charts on that. The other one, injectable, I wanted to see. Yeah, it's kind of lagging behind, going sideways, chopping, like much of the altcoins are doing pretty much the same thing. I do actually, if you want to jump in here, Juan, I was going to show the gold chart. What's been going on with gold lately? Any news with gold, or pretty much status quo?
No, well, like I've been saying, we've been chugging along towards that 2,800 mark very nicely. We had a little dip there. Probably had to do with the resistance that we faced this week. But it looks like it's back on track. You see a nice little W pattern formed at the top. So I expect that to continue. I don't see any resistance going forward, especially with the FOMC news that just occurred. People are feeling very bullish. Lots of things are moving in the upward trend. So gold is not going to be any different. However, I would pay attention to it for any possible dips, not because gold is losing any forward momentum, probably because it's probably being used for to serve for other liquidity purposes. Usually, when you see a trend this hard, you're probably gonna see some moves to help either support Bitcoin or Ethereum or another project, or even stocks itself, right? So gold is just the fundamental store of value for a lot of other assets. Well, we'll see. I think I'm really bullish on it. So we should expect more of the same for the next at least for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, actually, I just noticed that it's at an all-time high. It just broke past the previous all-time high, which is awesome. 2,797.89 currently.
Yeah, we're right there, right at the tip of 2,800. Exciting times.
Perfect. Love to see it. Okay, and two more to go real quick. I'm just going to give this a refresh, and here is the liquidation heat map or liquidation map. We follow this because, especially lately, the market makers, lizard people, whatever you want to call them, whales, they manipulate the market. It's no secret, especially Binance and Coinbase and the like. They scoop up liquidity wherever they can. So currently, we did have a lot of these flushed out, and they're right back. People haven't learned their lesson apparently. But I just want to see maybe up here. I want to see if it's high leverage or low leverage. Yeah, some pretty high leverage, 50, 100x. Right around anywhere between 101.5 all the way up to 104.4. The reason I don't like seeing that is whichever way has got the most liquidity, the most money that the market makers can scoop up, is a lot of times the market will head that way to take care of that before moving in the opposite direction. Eventually, it's got to move up. I mean, every time Bitcoin goes down and then corrects back up to the same levels around 105,000, more leverage longs are placed. I don't know how many times we can keep going backwards before we finally go forwards, but it is what it is. And then finally, this is the CBBI. For those that are not sure, it takes all of the cycle top indicators, all the major ones, and puts it into one graph. I'm not sure, Cade, if you've seen this one before, Cade, but we've been showing this for about 3 or 4 weeks now. A lot of people use the pi cycle top, the new pull, et cetera, the fuel multiple. And this one takes them all together into consideration and creates a graph, and it kind of shows where the peak of the market could possibly be. And currently, as I said, out of 100, we're at a 76. And the concern, we aren't really going to be concerned until this gets to the high 80s, mid to high 80s. Then you're getting pretty extended and near the top of the market. But right now, we're looking pretty good on that one. All right. That's it for the charts. I think going through those quickly today is a good idea because we do have a lot to talk about when it comes to the last few days, especially with the FOMC meeting and all the other news that's been going on with the new administration, all these different orders that are taking place and pro or positive crypto goings on, if you will. And then we will jump into our topic of altcoin season and exactly what's going on there. So first off, the SEC formed a dedicated crypto task force, which everyone should know by now, Doge. And they've already saved the taxpayers in the U.S. millions. I believe they're up to about $60 or $65 million that they've saved on waste spending from the previous administration. I believe one of them, believe it or not, was $50 million worth of condoms going to Guyana or something like that. Like just a lot of wasteful spending. And, it's good to see that they're putting a stop to that, because as much as I'm sure it helps that country out with their, impregnating the population, but that doesn't do any good for the American public, especially wasting that money. Okay, and then the SEC has also announced that they have overturned a rule restricting banks from being able to offer crypto and self-custodial through banks, which is another bullish sign from this administration. Grayscale has just filed an application for a Litecoin and Solana ETF. That just came down, I believe, a few hours later or a few hours ago. XRP was also included in that. I'm not sure if that was from Grayscale, but they have been given an ETF filing as well. Tron founder Justin Sun has proposed a zero-fee stablecoin transfer plan, which, I mean, stablecoin transfers don't really cost a lot anyway, but I guess I'm not sure about Tron. I don't use Tron. I don't know if any of you guys know what the fees are like on their transferring stables, but I know I mainly do it on Solana, and we all know that Solana transfer fees or swap fees are super, super cheap. And then the crypto market experienced a pullback due to the U.S. stock tech sell-off, which is a result of DeepSeek. I'm sure everyone's heard that news by now, that was released, and data came out that they were able to do it at a fraction of the cost of Chat GTP and OpenAI. But of course, we're now hearing stories that they actually did use the more expensive GPUs. They're just not allowed to report it because technically they're not supposed to be using them. So that turned out to be a nothing burger. Anyone that panic sold because of that news, you're probably kicking yourself right now, because most of those AI coins are way up today. And we'll talk about some of those as well. So, gentlemen, that's mainly the news. I'm not sure if you have anything to add or if you want to comment on any of those. I'll go around the horn. I'll first start off with Juan. Juan, you've usually got some pretty good perspective. You got any information that I may have missed? Nope. Are you muted? Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. One of the things that we discussed is alt season here, right? And when we kind of look at the news, money is flowing into the market and flowing out. It's just a matter of where they want to put it. And when you look at, the first thing you want to look at is the DeepSeek news. I mean, not surprising that, there's a ban on China using certain products from the US, especially when they're at the top of the line. So, when you hear that, hey, they were able to be successful using these products and delivering, a robust AI, maybe they cut some corners here and there, because obviously they're still offering for free. But for me, it's still amazing. I think that it's an amazing tool. Everybody should use it, try it out. I'm even using it to code PineScript, so just to help with trading and help with analyzing stuff. So it's one of those things that if it's free, why not? And we have our competitors that are charging you $20. On the flip side, right? When you look at where liquidity is moving towards, they're very bullish. When you look at what Trump has been doing to bolster the crypto market, and the things that he's doing specifically just for the crypto market, it's emboldening more companies to do more with crypto. I think there's also news where the speaker spoke about where their banks are allowed to service crypto customers safely, that there are tools provided for them to do so. So that's very good. Now it's up to, he basically just put the ball in the bank's court, right? Like, hey, you don't have the excuse now, put the infrastructure to do it, right? So you have both ends of the spectrum now covered, right? We have the people who are control of the money. You got the government now supported. And the last part is us, right? What are we going to do? What are we going to ask for? How are we going to push it forward? And now, it's up to the devs now to kind of come up with an ecosystem, right? That is going to be easy to use, easy to interchange between banks, tracked properly, right? I mean, the blockchain is made for this. And I think it's time for devs to kind of step up and come up with a platform that's ubiquitous for everybody, and not something that's going to be like specialized for certain people, right, or certain sectors. So, I think it's a great opportunity for having this type of administration in place to really push crypto to new heights.
Yeah, I agree. That opens up new doors, especially for anyone who has been hesitant to get into crypto, thinking that they'd be in trouble with the regulators, and now they can get it through their banks, or at least possibly pretty soon. And you're right about the deep sea, because now that not forces, but the healthy competition can now begin between these AI agents and generators. So that could produce some really good innovation in the future. Cade, yourself, what anything you wanted to add to that, or what are your thoughts on the whole AI wars going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what we're seeing right now is ultimately this is kind of like a precursor to what I think kind of the final destination will be, and it's that these base models are going to get so complex and so essentially like all encompassing of the data that they essentially become a commodity, right? So you're essentially going to have like the cost of compute, like the cost of compute infrastructure, cost of energy, and then cost of data. Now, if you have some of these source models, maybe the cost of data can be a little bit of like a differentiator, but most of it is going to be cost of energy and cost of compute, just because that's what costs most of the money, particularly once all of these, I guess all of like the human data that we have amassed up to this point has kind of been filtered through all of these various models.
Great insight. Cruiser, you have anything to add to that? Oh, we lost you again.
How about now?
There we go. There we
I
go.
don't know
There you
what's
go.
going on here. Okay,
The
I'm going
Matrix
to
got
go a
you.
little off script with the news. Just touch on a couple things that may or may not affect the crypto market or crypto space at all. First thing, just very briefly, only because I found it very interesting. It really has no impact on anything. But Gary Gensler has returned to MIT as a professor, and Gemini, I hear, has halted hiring any MIT graduates or alumni as a result.
I did hear that.
Again, don't know, no impact, just something I found interesting. What may have an impact is, I believe it's Texas, Illinois, and Indiana all have governors that are pushing for Bitcoin reserves.
Yeah.
So
actually, I believe there's 15 states now pushing for it.
That many, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on those because that, of course, as we all know, could really impact what's going to happen here on out.
It's a race. It's a race. I think as people learn about the limited supply of Bitcoin, more and more places states are trying to get ahead of the actual federal government, because once the Fed start buying, that supply shock is really going to hit the OTCs and exchanges alike. We'll have to wait and see. We are joined by Stylus as well. Are you there, Miss Stylus? How are you doing?
I'm here. Hi, guys. I'm so glad to hear you all. I finally joined. Great conversation again. I'm super excited right now about the administration, about new changes, because I feel that it's always making people scared and nervous, but at the same time, this is what we need to embrace and move forward with. So it's been such a great year using AI very actively for me. Year and a half, I would say. And I just think that it's incredible what we can do as humanity if we will start to use AI to the better, So I'm always on the positive side, very excited about all the news that is happening. I'm very happy that there will be more regulation. I know that a lot of people were kind of upset with Trump not hitting crypto right away as the first thing that he was supposed to do. But I think he has a lot of things on his plate, and he will definitely address it. So looking forward to all of this, it's really great.
Well, I think he wants to make sure that they do it properly. You don't never want to rush into anything like that and do it half-assed, right? You want to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. I think that's the case with
I
Trump.
agree, and I hope that this is the case. I hope that this
Yeah.
will be a smart move toward that.
Let's see. Black Cat says, "Won't the banks be in custody of your money just like they are now?" Still seems fishy to me. You're absolutely right. The whole point of crypto is self custody and to be your own bank or be bankless, and allowing. But there are some people that are completely reliant on banks. They trust them, and that's the only institutions where they will park their money. So for those that would not normally get into Bitcoin and want to get a wallet and go through all those hassles or don't understand, the bank is the perfect outlet. I mean, institutions in general, like you see the ETFs through BlackRock and Grayscale, et cetera, they're just flying. Like it's been the best ETF to date in history this fast. So there are a lot of people that just don't want to do it themselves, and that's just another alternative route that they could take to onboard into crypto. So adoption, it doesn't really matter how we get it, as long as we get it. In my opinion, adoption is key.
The opposite is also true, though, right? Like, just I don't know how many times I've heard and I've seen where people were trying to buy crypto with their debit, with their credit, and they can't. State law, federal law, certain place. I mean, I remember I couldn't even buy any BNB in New York because New York itself prevented you. You could buy Ethereum, but you couldn't really buy BNB. There were a lot of like little stuff that were black banks from being allowing you to even buy purchases. There were just blocks here, excuses there. So having a more ubiquitous and open system, I think, will help at least the common person be able to do it a lot easier, right? And just use your card without the 15 different types of middlemen trying to get a piece of your pie.
Yeah. Well, and the simple thing too, like for example, I've had an issue with a previous bank that I won't name, where I wanted to e-transfer money to my exchange that I use, and they wouldn't let it. And this is only about 3 or 4 months ago too. So that would be the other thing. For those of us that do have self-custody of our crypto, we need a way to onboard it and to get money to our wallets, right? So having banks allow that is also another positive for this as well. Black Cat says here, governments had to worry about how to drive electricity for mining. Now it's going to be getting electricity for cost to compute. Still think we need to be putting our money into nuclear. Let's pack. Always so when U.S. traders get leverage. Good point. Okay. Moving on. Let's get into our main topic of the day, altcoin season. I have kind of a question. I'm going to go around the panel and ask your opinions, and then I'll give my opinion last. Now, I've kind of backtested the last bull market, and we're right on pace for kind of, bull markets don't rhyme, but they do, repeat, but they do often rhyme. And we're almost at that stage now where altcoins began to take off in the last cycle. But, with the problem this time is that we don't have the retail that we did have in the last cycle. Retail is just not here, not in the same types of numbers that we had before. And then the alternative to that, flip to that coin, is that we have so many more altcoins available and on the market to purchase. So that money that is into the market is kind of diluted. But I do want to hear from you guys. I'll start with Juan. Do you guys feel that we are going to still get an altcoin season, like a 2020 bull run-ish altcoin season? Or do you think it's going to be different this time? And if so, how do you see it playing out?
What if I tell you that both answers are not what I'm thinking? What if I tell you instead that maybe alt season already started and our expectations just need to be tempered, right? I was thinking about something that Chart said on one of our streams a while back, and mentioned how Bitcoin, its resurgence and its pump might be a lot different from what we expected. Why wouldn't that be necessarily the same for alt season, right? When you look at the coins, a lot of them are performing very well. Now, are they 1,000%? No. But you look at Solana, you look at HBAR, you look at XRP, XLM, they're all 200, 300% gains.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So does that mean that we're not in alt season because it's not 1,000? I just think that we just didn't set the right expectations for what alt season might look like in this type of new environment.
Yeah. Well, I do have a theory on those tokens that you just mentioned, but I'll save that to the end. Cade,
And that's fine.
I'll go
But you
around
can
that.
look at Link, Doge, LTC, Crow. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, there
So
is.
I'm just saying.
I'm not disagreeing, but most of those that you mentioned, there's probably a good reason that they have pumped. Sorry to cut you off, Juan. Cade, yeah.
No problem.
What your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think there could be a whole bunch of different reasons as to why this is happening. I think part of one of the reasons that maybe it hasn't happened yet is because we were expecting it. Usually things, crashes don't happen because everybody sees them coming. They usually catch people by surprise. Same thing with parabolic run-ups for the same reason, right? And so I think we could be seeing a little bit of that going on, but also in addition, I think there's a level of like the market's just fundamentally different, right? I think we're dealing with a couple of different things. We're dealing with an overall more sophisticated investor, so you can't just put your money into literally anything and watch it go up 10x because people are just smarter than that now, right? I mean, I would say there's a general level of like people know how to like check for rugs, people know how to check or generally I'd say the more sophisticated people do. And I would say the retail people are probably, I would say let's say the retail and super gamble heavy people are kind of self-selecting themselves into meme coins, right? Because I mean, if you look at the volume that Pumped Out Fund has done, even just on Solana this year, or I guess not this year, but in 2024, I mean, absolutely wild numbers, right?
That's
So,
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, the money's there. I think it's just being more efficiently washed into the hands of the few rather than, kind of it being more of a fair play like it was last run. That's kind of my perspective on it. I think it's just the markets are getting more efficient generally, kind of like what we see in stock markets around the world, right? I mean, people are a lot better at arbitrage. People are a lot better at, liquidity and making sure that, there's no arbitrage abilities. And if they are, they're highly complex that require a pretty elaborate setup to take advantage of. That generally hasn't historically been too much of the case. And so I think now we're starting to see the market kind of catch up to that a little bit.
Good point. Cruiser, what are you seeing?
Well, for quite a long time now, I've kind of been conflicted on what I see happening. This sideways movement, it makes me crazy. Well, to steal a page out of Tyler Hill's verbiage, this high manipulation zone that we've been in for weeks, it makes me mental. But I think with this market, this bull market, seeing more institutional activity as opposed to the retail that we've been used to, is wreaking havoc on what we expect from the bull market. I don't necessarily think we've reached the top for the altcoins, but I think we're well on our way through the altcoin season. I don't think we're going to get some 500% run-ups from here. I think we're more than on our way to, I guess, coming not to the end of it, but kind of in the last stretch, I guess.
Getting there.
The
fourth quarter.
it could go on for months still, but I don't feel like we're going to get that parabolic
altcoin season. We'll have to wait and see.
Silas.
Oh, sorry, Cruiser. Silas, I know you're not up to speed on altcoins. You rely on your people around you like Chart Davidson and Terry and of course this stream. But you've been in long enough now to see the cycle and to see how it's been going. And what do you think, or what do you project altcoin season to look like?
Thank you. I was just going to say that, I'm the last person to ask for sure. I made for myself this mind that, I see that everything is growing anyway, and I see that we're still early anyway. So whatever investments I have, I try to stick to very well researched tokens and just keep them. And even if they will not get like this parabolic movement, I'm pretty sure they will still grow, and I will still see the results. Maybe not as fast as I hoped so, but I will still see that like in a year they will be in a good position comparing to if I would invest them via regular stock market. That would be a much slower movement. So for me, I'm just being patient, following news, and I keep thinking that I need to stay in the scene and keep being surrounded by people who are doing this, because otherwise you just don't know what's going on this market, and you quickly fall out of it. So this is my kind of take on this.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I always listen in to the Twitter Spaces and then the streams until they ended from DGens, and listen to a lot of different not advice, but opinions and comments from Chart and Terry and Injustice and the others, and a lot of good insights there. So I thought by now, after you have been listening to the same advice for about a year and a half now, that you'd be an altcoin expert, but I guess, the landscape changes so much that, the narrative from 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next has always changed. My outlook is a little bit different than all of you. I'm not sure we're going to get the same. I'm kind of with you, Cruiser. I don't think we're going to get the same type of altcoin season that we got in previous cycles. And there's one main reason for that. Retail really isn't in the market, not like it was last cycle. And I think, I'm going to give you some examples. Any altcoin with institutional backing, or at least US altcoin narrative. If you go onto CoinMarketCap, there's actually a category now for US regulatory US altcoins. And, altcoins like XRP, XLM, HBAR, Chainlink, Ondo, and extension Pith, because Chainlink is an Oracle and so is Pith. Those ones have done really, really well, simply because I think institutions are buying. They all have a use case, different use cases when it comes to TradFi and the real world. They're not RWAs, real world assets, but they all have a use case that can be used in the real world. So I think those ones have pumped because of that narrative. And any retail that is in the market has seized those coins pumping, and then of course they FOMO in. I was mistaken when they first started pumping. I called them Dino coins, revitalized. I thought maybe just because, they've been around for so long, they were in the last bull market or the last two, and they kind of lagged behind, and they eventually had to pump, and they did. But I think that had more to do with the fact that they're going to be either regulated in XRP's case, and by extension XLM, and used by institutions, which the other ones. Ondo, for example, is, it's a tokenized, they're going to tokenize real world assets, or and then Chainlink, which is an Oracle. It's like the glue that bonds real world into blockchain. So that's my take on that. As to, whether or not we're going to have a traditional altcoin cycle, that all depends on retail. We are going to have altcoins pump, obviously, and if we stay on track from the last bull market, we will get that altcoin season, that run where the major altcoins run multiples per week. But exactly how many of them and how long that lasts is going to depend on retail. Now, as to why retail isn't really in the market yet is that's a topic for an entirely different stream. We can talk about that for hours. I mean, there's so many different reasons why that could be. Especially, Bitcoin popped over 100,000, and the hype for crypto is pretty high right now. You look at Google Trends or the top apps and all the different app stores, and all within the top 5, you're finding 3 or 4 that are crypto related, whether it be Crypto.com or even PayPal, and of course Coinbase and the usual suspects. So retail is interested. The searches are there, but the retail money is not there. And again, there could be many reasons for that. The U.S. economy is doing okay, but the last bull market, when we had that extreme altcoin season, you got to remember there was a lot of stimulus checks in the mail, because of the C-19 going on. So there was a lot of extra money flying around, people not at work, sitting at home around their computer. What else are they going to do? They're going to take those stimmy checks and they're going to put it into the market. We don't have that this time around. In Canada, it's even worse. Our economy up here is not doing great at all. There's no extra money to go around. Inflation is super high. Things cost twice as much as they did back in the last bull market, whereas salaries are not evenly matched. I just think money's hard to come by. So it's going to be a tough sell to say that we're going to have the same altcoin season as we had last time. But here's hoping, fingers crossed that our bags pump a little higher. Anybody have anything to add with that? I'm sure, like I said, we could talk about this for hours, but let's get all the pertinent information out first.
Juan, I will tell you that. Yeah, I will tell you that when it comes to the alt season itself, when you look, you pull back, and even if you exclude some of the US coins, you still have some strong outliers there still generating 40, 50, 60%.
Yes.
And I agree. And I agree that I think the expectations of the days of 1,000x's and 10,000x's are far few between. That free liquidity from people who didn't know what to do are definitely non-existent as much as they used to be. The follow me guys, I'm gonna lead you to the promised land people, suckers that followed everybody else is again, they're more educated, and I would love to think that it's channels like the ones that we provide here have educated and made a lot of these new buyers a lot wiser and more prepared into the bull market, right? But ultimately, I think that's where crypto in general is starting to head, right? Where, yeah, you're going to still have your nice volatility, but you're not going to get the huge swings that we're accustomed to. Those overnight millionaires are going to be far and few between. And it's going to be more designated to the gamblers in the meme area. I think that's where the Wild Wild West is going to continue to exist. And we're just going to have to decide, are we going to gamble every so often, right? Take, a couple of our earnings and winnings and toss it into a gamble play, but know that we have a lot of reserve in our alts and in our main stores of value, or we're just going to be afraid and never invest again, right? Those are the decisions we have to kind of come to. And I feel that eventually we're going to reach a point where I'm not going to say that crypto will ever resemble stocks. Like, God, I hope not. But I'm hoping that it becomes a space where people can freely interact and exchange ideas and create a wealth for their own families and investment, right? So they don't rely on Social Security and other means to for their future, right? So that's my hope, and I think that if we can get this done right now, where we are supported by the right government for this goal, then I think that we're going to end up in a lot better place years from now. Oh, we lost you. Crazy.
My bad. I muted myself. Cade, to your point about pumped up fun, there has been a lot of liquidity that went into meme coins, and that did suck out a lot of the money out of what would have went into altcoins. So yeah, that's another factor we have to take in consideration. Now, I want to put this around the panel as well. Cade, I'll start with you. One of the biggest catalysts for altcoins and altcoin season is Ethereum. Normally, Ethereum leads the charge. This cycle, Ethereum has been a snail stuck in syrup. You know what I mean? It hasn't done anything. So altcoins, they haven't, Ethereum, I should say, hasn't led the charge for the altcoin season. Do you see that changing anytime soon? Do you see it finally moving, finally doing something to spark the altcoin season?
It's hard to say because I think that the catalyst that brings along alt season is some really truly like mind melting gains, right? And I think that's why we've seen so many people moving to meme coins, is because realistically the only place in crypto that has truly had like these just insane gains are meme coins. Like Solana's done well. Solana's done very well. It went from like $8 at its low to like almost $300 at its high now. But aside from that, like we haven't really seen anything just do ridiculous moves. And so I think that's a part of the reason why we're seeing such a struggle from altcoins generally, is because like we haven't seen that blow off top, in my opinion, from Bitcoin yet. We haven't really seen a blow off top from Ethereum. I would argue we haven't really even seen one from Solana because it's still about a quarter of the size of Ethereum. Like, I would think, I would imagine a blow off top from Solana looks something like flipping Ethereum, right? So I think I don't necessarily know that alt season's like predicated on Ethereum's move to the upside. I think it's just predicated on a move to the upside that's not Bitcoin, because essentially the way I look at it is everything kind of moves from the top down, right? So if we look at Bitcoin, everybody makes a whole bunch of money on Bitcoin. They're like, oh, dang, I just missed the Bitcoin play. What's next, right? Oh, well, Ethereum just mooned historically, right? Ethereum just mooned. Let's try that. Okay, well, or now Ethereum just mooned. Now we need to go to Polkadot or Solana or whatever else, right? And then down and down we go until we end up with Ponzi coins and all these other crazy things, right? And so I think we haven't seen like that first domino fall to kind of kick off that kind of move downward, finding more liquidity. And so, that's kind of why I mention memes in a sense, is because they may have kind of sucked the liquidity out, and that's where people are finding ridiculous gains. I think most people know that, yeah, exactly like what the comment on the screen is, right? Is like, you go gamble on a couple hundred memes. I think people know you're probably going to lose probably all of them, except for maybe one, but one is all it takes.
Like
because
one out of 20, you'll make something on.
Exactly.
Yeah. In previous cycles, you're absolutely right. You mentioned Solana possibly, when it has its parabolic run, flipping Ethereum. In previous cycles, it has been Ethereum that's led that charge. You've seen that chart multiple times where money flows into Bitcoin, Bitcoin tops out, money flows into Ethereum, from Ethereum into altcoins into mid caps, low caps, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Maybe this cycle, Ethereum is not going to be that crutch. Maybe it's going to be, Ethereum. Maybe this time it's going to be Solana. And then when Solana starts pumping, the altcoins follow it. You're right. It just takes one leader, and it could be Solana this cycle. You had mentioned Solana going from, I believe it got down to 8 or 12, I think, is where I remember how low it got. But anyway, all the way up to almost 300. And then you have Sui, which is the other one that we've been following on this channel, all the way down in the high teens, and it got as high as get close to just over $5. So it's done really, really well as also. Cruiser, your thoughts on Ethereum? I know you've been following it closely. You're like me, trying to kick it, wake up, do something. But what do you see it doing?
Those who know that I haven't been following it closely for good reason, because I made one stupid move. Anyway, I can't help but think that with Ethereum being the number 2 that it's always been, and it underperforming so badly this cycle,
hasn't even hit all-time highs yet.
Right. It makes me wonder if that's what's not holding the market back directly, but preventing those new retail investors to get in, because they see Bitcoin. It hasn't hit that 110 yet, and a year ago people were talking, oh, Bitcoin's going to hit 200,000, in the next year, and it's struggling to get back up to 110. Ethereum is having trouble maintaining 3,200. It just makes me wonder if that is what's holding so many people back. Just the underperformance. People see it as the number 2, and they think, well, if that's not doing so great, then I'm not even going to look at anything else. Not realizing some of the others have already 5, 6, 7, 10x, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So Ethereum and I are not friends right now. That's all that comes down to. And it needs to do something. It needs to come to the party and pull its pants up and start acting like a number 2 instead of being a number 2.
Unfortunately, one of the biggest issues with ETH is, other than the gas fees, is that they're just not upgrading. They're not innovating. It's like, I call it dinosaur tech. And you have blockchains like Solana and Sui and the like, and Base now, who's piggybacking off Ethereum, but they just have much better technology, faster transactions per second, throughput. Everything across the board is better. and they just don't seem to be wanting to do anything about it. I think they're resting on their laurels, and you can't do that when it comes to a technology such as cryptograph currency.
And I
sorry.
said on past streams that if Ethereum doesn't do something this year, it's going to be left behind. I strongly believe
absolutely
it will be left behind, and Solana and XRP will both flip it, and who knows what will happen after that.
I think XRP is going to flip it this cycle. I don't have any doubt on that. Once XRP starts its next run, I think it's just going to go berserk. Okay, and Silas, I know I'm not sure if you even own Ethereum or if you follow it much at all, but do you have anything to comment on when it comes to Ethereum?
Well, I was thinking the same as Crozers mentioned, that there is some kind of bias of the buyers previously, that Ethereum is going to be the second or is still the second, and that's why maybe it holds back people who did not want to jump to other coins and kind of stayed with Ethereum this cycle. And this is what Ethereum was leaving off of this kind of investments. I think that it's just so sad, because I don't think that they have enough time to, unless they were working all along and now they will introduce some kind of changes, but I don't think that they have time right now to present something that will be faster and more efficient. And what can they do? That was my question when you were commenting. I was like, what Ethereum can do? They already designed, they already done. Like, can they do something? It's something that will be a big surprise. So I think that they are late. Unfortunately, I think that this is it, and we just have to understand that the market is completely different. Everything is, technology is different. Bias of people will change also, and this bull run might be just completely different. Not like, I always hear a chart, for example, in our charts saying that I've been through 3 bull runs and I kind of know what to expect. But every single year we have new technology and everything moves so much faster that I think that it's normal not to be able to expect something. We didn't know that we will have so much AI. We didn't know many things, that we will finally have, like, we will finally become so close to regulations and so on. So I agree on XRP with you. I think that it will flip too, and we just have to wait, in my opinion, and be patient with all of this.
Agreed. Thank you, Louis. We will try our best. One of the things that really makes me mad at Ethereum is they knew, they were, what they say about the first on the block, and it was innovative tech back in the day, but they knew that this space was going to grow. As it grew, the technology was going to get better. The speeds were going to, they were going to need to be able to handle more volume, more better speed, et cetera, et cetera. And they didn't bother innovating. They knew that this space was going to get so much bigger. They knew that people were going to rely on them to evolve with the times, and they just didn't. And you see so many projects after projects after project leaving the Ethereum network and going to mainly Solana because of the speed and how easy it is to use, but other chains as well. And Base is a perfect example. Yeah, I agree with the whole panel that Ethereum has definitely lagged behind, and if they don't do something, they are going to be obsolete sooner rather than later. Okay, this is the point on the show.
Let me just add one more thing. I think there's a correlation between the life of the NFT on Ethereum and its, I guess its downward spiral, and Ethereum itself, right? Like during its heyday, if you wanted to buy any great NFTs, you used Ethereum. And it was always the volume that kind of kept it going. And NFT itself now, it's not as ubiquitous as it used to be. It's not around water cooler talks, should I say. It's not one of those things that it's prevalent anymore. And I think Ethereum has just followed went down the same path, right? It's not as popular. And now projects used to always exist on Ethereum. Like and if you look, the same thing with BNB, went through the same thing. And BNB is still like around 678 and can't crack that. 750 more, can't get into that 800 because again, everybody's building now on Solana. It's just so much faster, so much easier. Whether it's coding, whether it's, I mean, I guess there's so many reasons why people are building on Solana, and I think that they have to find a way to kind of bridge that gap if they
It was easy to
if they
see
want to
too.
recapture. Yes.
It was, yeah, earlier in the cycle, you could see BNB actually did well. It outperformed the market for quite a few months. And then once Solana really got going and got its wind behind it, and everybody just went to Solana, it just took off. And
Well, it's easy for BNB to do that when you're down like half your freaking market cap, right? Like I think it started the year at $300, and actually under. So yeah, I think it just, you know, it kind of caught up to its, you know, and I'm glad it's back to where it needs to be, especially considering how the U.S. attacked BNB. So let's give it some credit, right? It had its challenges, but it's not, you know, you're not hearing 50 different projects coming out of BNB like you used to, you know.
And let's be honest, we shouldn't feel bad about BNB because you know, they make their money manipulating the market. So let's not feel bad about them. Okay. Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. The internal struggles with the Ethereum Foundation is not helping. I remember a few months ago, there were rumors that Vitalik had left the foundation or left Ethereum. He found a girlfriend. He was spending a lot of time with her. And, you know, FUD like that can spread like wildfire. And I'm sure that didn't help matters at all about Ethereum's future and investments in Ethereum. But hopefully she wakes up because, you know, Ethereum is a big part of this market, whether we want to admit it or not. It is a big part, whether it be NFTs or layer twos riding on Ethereum. You know, a lot of the layer twos on Ethereum, like, for example, a perfect example would be a Polygon and then Optimism and Arbitrum. They've all suffered because Ethereum hasn't done anything or gone anywhere. And it's, you know, it's too bad for them, anyone who has invested in those ones early on, because they were very, very promising L2s when they were launched. But because of Ethereum not doing anything at all, everything that is built on Ethereum, they're suffering as well, except for Base. Base is the outlier, only because of the connection to Coinbase, I believe. But that's, you know, wait and see. We'll have to see what happens there. As I was saying, this is the point of the show where we should, what do we get, 52 minutes? This is the point where I want to bring up the Ballet Wallet giveaways. We have 2 of them to give away. Here they are. This is our second week of the word phrase, which all you have to do is type out that phrase in the comment section. This week's phrase is going to be bull market 2025. So if you put bull market 2025 in the comments, you will be entered into the automatic draw for one of 2 Ballet wallets. I will actually bring up the website maybe next week or maybe the last week. What we'll do is go over detail over this website, let everyone know exactly how it works and what the wallet is all about. But this is it here. It's a Ballet cold storage wallet. It's a physical card. It's a metal card. And, you know, you come to this website, the Ballet website, which we will send the link to the winners of the wallet along with the wallet itself. And this gives you step-by-step exactly how to use the wallet, what it is, how to put crypto on, how to take crypto off, which crypto it accepts. You know, you can connect it to your ledger, all kinds of really, really cool things. This is, you know, very easy to store, obviously, because it's the size of a credit card. I wouldn't recommend putting it in your wallet, but it is small enough to store in a lock safe or wherever you want to store it. So, like I said, this week's phrase is bull market 2025. Just comment that in the comment section below. And also, while you're there, I also have the YouTube and I believe I have the Twitter as well. Yes, I do, for Cade's socials. Don't forget to follow him as well. He's got great content over there on YouTube. Does a lot of collaborations and just you know, great information. All right, gentlemen, this is nearing the end of the stream. I guess I'll go around the horn and get everyone's comments on anything they want to talk about or anything that's on their radars. I'll start with you, Cade. Anything you're seeing, anything you want to mention or discuss?
Overall, you know, it's a weird place in the market. I don't feel super confident having, like, you know, some of these super high conviction plays. Obviously, I have my own high conviction plays, but just given where we're at in the market, you know, I don't feel the same level of confidence that we saw back in, you know, maybe August or September. Right. I remember talking about, you know, on my channel, particularly in August or September, being like, this is all lining up, right? Like, everything's oversold. There's a ton of fear in the market. Things are looking like this is good. And then obviously we saw a really, really nice run. Now I would say, like, I still I still think that there's going to be an upside, and we have not topped yet and all that type of stuff. I do agree with it basically what seems like the consensus take here of it's not going to be like it was last time, but we may still see, some more kind of running through towards the end of this cycle. So, that's kind of what I'm looking at. But overall, I would say like, one of the things I talk about on my channel is like, minimum risk versus maximum reward. Like you want to do both of those at the same time whenever you can. I would say that this is definitely not the time in at least the macro cycle that like that's not the case right now. So I do still feel pretty good about some of these bigger ones. I do think Solana has been kind of the clear and far away winner.
Mhm.
I think things on the base ecosystem will do well. Again, kind of speaking to the ETH situation, I am not totally convinced that ETH is going to do particularly well this cycle, just because it seems that some of the narrative is kind of shifted away from it, and kind of going back to what you guys were talking about a little bit earlier on is like, I think the reason why is because Solana and Ethereum basically took two completely different approaches. Ethereum was like, we're going to farm out our transaction volume to layer twos, essentially eating into our profits. But we think that the tech problem of scaling can be solved, cannot be solved. And Solana basically was like, well, we think the exact opposite. We think farming out our transaction volume to layer twos is a terrible idea because you're essentially just like eroding shareholder value, if we're to use like traditional finance terms, but you're essentially just like eroding shareholder value for no apparent reason. We're going to try and scale the layer one and get, 1 million transactions per second or whatever. And so at least thus far, it appears that that Solana is winning, that portion of the two-sided argument there. Whether that holds, who knows for sure. I think it's very, very clear to see. Solana right now holds about 4,800 transactions per second, which is really good, compared to the wider crypto market. But I think it's Visa does like 1 million transactions per second. So
700,000. Yeah.
700,000. Okay. Not even close. We're
Right.
not even close to like the internet level scale that we need to be hitting. So
Not quite.
Like, even though Solana is looking good right now, that's not to say that they will continue, and they may have their Ethereum moment next cycle. So that's kind of where my thoughts are. I think Solana, Sui, both looking pretty good. ICP, I'm a little bit partial toward. If you guys look at my channel, I obviously have several videos on that, but that's kind of where I'm looking is kind of some of these like really high value altcoins, not necessarily trying to pick 100x just because it's not totally clear to me that we'll see something like that happen this cycle.
Well, unlike previous cycles where you could pretty much throw money at any altcoin and you will make gains, I think this cycle you got to do a little more research, find areas or find altcoins that you feel are going to actually be useful and have a real world use case. And of course, a use case in crypto down the road in the future. And those are the ones to lay your bets on. I think that's what we're going to have to do on this cycle. Juan, what about yourself? Any final thoughts?
I'm with Cade here. First, I'd like to thank him for coming on the channel. I really appreciate his insights. Very soft spoken. But with that being said, I think we have to temper expectations for what the next couple of months are going to look like. We have to be realistic that again, these $1 million plays might have to only be $100,000 plays. Oh no. But at the end of the day, what I'm hoping that everybody gets out of this conversation is you have to play the game, regardless of how the market looks. If you're not in it, you're just not going to make anything. So I'd rather have a shot at something than have a shot at nothing. And the market is where it needs to be because it needs to be fixed. And I think we've always talked about some type of structure needs to be in place to protect investors so they can feel at ease doing what they need to do. But just keep in mind that while these things do come into fruition, right, it's going to prevent these high power value plays. It just is. That's that volatility is just not going to be there because nobody wants to do that. No one's going to take advantage, and they don't want to get caught by the man. But at the end of the day, if you're just again tuning into our channel, tuning into Cade's channel, learning about how to take advantage of the situations you see in front of you, whether it's the market, whether you see a reversal, where you see, taking your profits and reinvesting them, right? I mean, this is what we're always preaching and taking and trying to put yourself in the best position possible, right? I think that the next couple of months are going to be vital to how Trump handles and when he decides to use the word crypto in his speech, right? You're going to see a pump. You just are.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to be the next Elon for the next foreseeable future. Right. Anytime he mentions the slightest hint of a coin, right, it's going to turn into a meme. It's going to turn into something. Right. And if you guys want to be a part of that, right, you got to tune in. Got to tune into the news. And just the biggest example of this was just on Saturday when the word DeepSeek came out and how cheap it was, and everybody just lost their mind.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's just weekend news. So again, that's where the market is right now. They're clinging on to whatever words they can find, anything that might impact the market. Right. If a hurricane happens, if the next tornado hits, you're going to see the markets impacted. You just have to tune in. You got to pay attention to everything if you want to take advantage of some of the plays.
Good points. Cruiser, final thoughts.
Two things very quickly. First thing on the market overall, for anybody whose confidence in the market might be dwindling, I think the reality is that we have to change our expectations. I think as we progress into the next cycle, or out of this cycle and then beyond into the next, it's going to be a different world. The crypto space is changing, so we have to change with it. And just a bit of a promotional thing out there real quick for anybody. Well, I know there's a few greenhorns, as I like to call them, or newbies watching. Coming soon will be a series of videos that I'll be doing called Back to Basics. And I'll just be going right back, well, exactly as it refers to, going back to the basics on how to get into crypto if you've never done it before. So I'll have more information on that in the coming week or so.
Awesome.
And that's all I got tonight.
Look forward to seeing that. And Silas, closing thoughts.
Okay, I will respond to each of you guys. So many great thoughts. Thank you so much for inviting me again, because every single week I learn something from all of you. So I want to say that Cade said that things are lining up. Maybe right now they're not lining up. I think they are. Absolutely everything is lining up to bring us to maybe like bigger but lower intensity in terms of the speed wave, but we will get there. As I said, like, I really believe that the market is growing, and you all see that. We all see our investments growing anyway, so we will see big growth, but maybe in not in such a high speed. Then I want to comment to Juan that thank you so much for encouraging people to just stay in tune, because it's very hard to you kind of lose the orientation when you are a little bit out of it. To you, Crypto Crazy, I want to say that thank you so much for reminding people that you need to be surrounded by the community. And of course, I will invite the DJs. And I think that podcasts like yours and different kinds of sources where you can trust people, where you are not taken advantage of, are super, super important. Thank you so much for sharing information about the beginning course. It's just, Cruiser, thank you so much. It's just great opportunity for people to learn. I'm super hopeful. I'm super positive about everything. And I think that we will see lots of great results just because this market is so huge and still emerging. And, you know, we cannot lose opportunity to watch it and to be a part of it.
Perfect. Appreciate the kind words. Well, thanks everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Also, don't forget about the Ballet Wallet giveaway. Enter the phrase in the comments below to be entered into.
Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to jump in real quick, 5 seconds here, on the ballet giveaway. Just so everybody knows, it's not just something we're giving away. It is something I use myself. I've been using a ballet wallet for a couple of years, and I really like how it works. And it's not just a card. So I wanted to throw it out there. It is something that I do use myself.
like I said, we're going to go into more detail on the last week of the giveaway on the card. Anyway, don't forget to follow all the links in the description. We have the links to the DGen's weekly newsletter, DGen's Discord, Cade's Twitter, and his YouTube channel. And of course, our Bitunix, if you want to use a new exchange, no KYC, and no, you can use it anywhere. No VPN needed as well. So again, thanks everyone for joining, and we appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week on Thursday. Take care, guys.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Have a good night.
Right.